So I'm Paul Zordian, General Manager of Ultepet. Why don't we introduce ourselves, and then you'll probably go next.
I'm Scott Mellon. I'm President and CEO of WTE Corporation.
I'm Steve Turner. I'm the CFO of WTE Corporation. Work a lot with Ultepet over the years. No, don't say that.
Yeah, I think we're going to do the background later tonight. So.
Okay, and then these guys will introduce themselves if they're not. Byron and Indorama, right?
Yes.
And then we're just going to say, or I'm going to say a little bit about our facility. What we want to show you today is we're going to show you a facility. We're all self-contained. Everything is under one roof. All our inventory is inside. We're gonna sort of go over a facility layout. They're going to have one of these, correct?
Yeah.
So I can ask people to turn to page 4. We'll look at it. We can describe where we are here. We're in this little green dot. Before we go out there, we're going to give you a little bit of a safety spiel as far as what you're going to see out there. Personal safety equipment that you're going to have to wear. But we'll walk out the door, and immediately to the left, to the north side, is our grinding department. And from there we take in bales primarily, reverse vending machine, shred. We have our trash dock in that area as well. We'll go down through the grinding department. There'll be a point where we're going to stop and we do the tour where it's a little less noisy and we can explain the equipment. We'll have an actual slide on just the grinding department that I'll show you before we go out there. We're going to continue down the main aisle. It's a plant that was constructed in pieces, right? So we have a couple of cleaning lines. They were installed at different times, so it's not a system where you start at point A and end at point B. It'll curve around a little bit. We'll show you that. It's 2 complete cleaning lines. It has similar equipment, although not the exact same equipment, but they'll do the same things. Those cleaning lines will take in 100% of what we granulate on a regular basis. They have a capacity that exceeds what we granulate, so we're always supplemented granulated flake that we bring in from others. I'll explain that a little later on. The cleaning lines can pack out in as far as clean flake, which we'll sell to market, or it can feed immediately into extrusion lines. We have 3 extrusion lines. When we bring you out there, we're only running 2 today, but basically if the extrusion lines are running clear flake, it'll take the clear flake directly from the cleaning line if we choose to. From there we take the material and we're going to put it into solid stating if it's required. It's a separate department, it's self-contained. From that point we load out in a series of bulk trucks, bulk bags, boxes, things like that. And I'll show you the information in each department when we go out there. Then I'm going to say, does anybody have any questions? Yeah, then we'll move to the grinding and we'll just simply show the grinding. That's what I said when we go out there. We start with a bale breaker, and you can see the various equipment here on page 5. It's typical of which you operate by, except it's set up for deposit, right? So we don't need some of the equipment that's associated with some of the issues of curbside. We have the ability to remove PVC if we choose to. We're not running that equipment because we don't have the PVC issue or the low melt issue that you tend to have with curbside with deposit. So we're going to bring the material in through the system. Our biggest issue, as with you I'm sure, is aluminum. There's simply a lot of aluminum commingled with the material. So we'll go through a typical eddy current system. We have magnetic separation. It eventually goes through a series of sorts. We have automated sortation for color. We have supplementary sortation with manpower. We have multiple platforms if we want to put people in different spots depending on the material that we're using. It all is going to go through a series of granulators. We have 6 different granulators out there. And we separate a clear from a green. And then we can put that material packaged out in that department. We could package out in the cleaning line, or we can feed it directly to the wash lines. In addition to that, we bring in RVM shred. We'll show you what that is. They're not going to be familiar with that, but we'll show you what that is. And in our part of the country, RVM shred machines are probably about 10% of our supply. They're gradually being eliminated, but the shred machine, as opposed to the And I made a mistake, it's not 10% of our supply, it's 10% of the machinery.
I was gonna
that's out
say,
there.
are you
Yeah,
saying
10% of our supplies.
your input
Yeah,
is,
no, 10% of the
shred?
machinery.
Incorrect.
I'll make sure that that's correct. It simply commingles the material in shred form, it makes it impossible to separate afterwards. So we have a setup where we feed that, it's a very, very effective way to utilize that material, and utilizing as less labor as possible. But it'll mix in with the green bottles and it'll wind up into the green line.
So the RVM material that was getting shredded now comes in bale form instead, is that?
Nope, it comes in shredded bags and we feed it into the system that we operate for bales. Kind of a separate system using the same granulators.
Okay, but you were saying that there's less RVM shred on the market now?
There's less machines that shred.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah, and maybe what I should explain is the difference between reverse bending machines, right,
Yeah,
versus flatteners versus shred.
yeah.
But I don't know that I have to explain
I
that.
don't know you have
Keep
to
it
go
as
through
simple as
too-
you possibly
Yeah, I don't know that you
Yeah.
have to go into too much detail
Yeah.
on that. At
Keep
this-
it
at-
simple.
at-
So maybe just leave that
Certainly
out.
at this
Yeah,
stage.
leave it at
Certainly
that.
at this stage.
Okay. And then we're gonna continue to walk down the aisle, and we've got a couple of cleaning lines going. There's a process flow diagram on page 6. The two lines are fairly similar. When we go out there, we're gonna walk down the middle, and we're gonna explain the equipment. We might be explaining equipment on what we call line 1 versus line 2. So we're gonna go down the middle of the lines, but we start off with a system where we're gonna feed a hopper. It's gonna go through screening, which really is a size issue. We're gonna screen out the large pieces. It's gonna go to aspiration, then we're gonna do conventional sink float. We're gonna wash. We're gonna put it through dewatering, which is spin dryers. We're gonna go through another sink float. We're gonna go through some more dewatering. We're gonna dry. We're gonna screen again. Then we're gonna go through metal separation. It's gonna go through an additional color sorting, which is more of a polishing. When we're done, we're gonna put it through a final aspiration system, and we're gonna lift off the lights. That material is ready to go into extrusion or into a package to be sold as flake. And then the other commodities that we're removing from the cleaning line, metal can go through a heavy media system. We'll show you what that is. We're also taking the floaters out, which is the caps. We're taking the labels out. It'll all go through a process which puts it into a saleable form, with the exception of the label. The label's gonna blow out into a compactor, and the label's the only part of this bottle we throw out. Now I'll ask if there's any question. Was that done?
That sounds good.
Nailed it, sir.
Nailed it. The only thing I would say is, I've not seen this, I just wasn't sure where we were starting, so I had to revisit, so you might just point out, we're
By the way, Steve, that's a great.
starting up here, because otherwise you're
Just
halfway
say
through. and
starting
people
at
are
the
like,
top right,
Yeah,
Starting at
okay.
the top,
because,
but where it says
because
feed
that,
hopper.
yeah,
Yep.
it's not the norm.
Let's go to page 7. 7 is the extrusion and SST process flow diagram, right? So we start in the upper left on this one, and we take the clean flake. We have to dry it before it goes into extrusion. It'll go into the extruder. The extruder we'll show you when we're out there. We have some different bells and whistles on our extrusion line that people might be used to. But basically, we're gonna go through melt filtration. We're gonna pelletize, we're gonna crystallize. When we're done crystallizing, it's gonna go through metal detection. Then it's ready to put into a package and sell. At that point in time, it has an FDA letter of non-objection. But if we have to make the material for a beverage market, we'll put it into our solid-stated reactor or poly-condensation unit. Then that material will be produced. It stays in bulk at that form. It'll go into some silos on the outside of the building. It gets mixed up, it comes back in, and we're ready to ship. Is that good?
Sounds good, and then, so will you bring Brian in at that time?
Brian will lead the tour. He's 7 feet tall. It'll be easy to follow down the lanes a little bit. And I'll bring him in and we'll go from there.
So,